Good afternoon, fellow light children and people of the light. Today I was having a meditation session, and I remembered what the infinite language is. I can't use the infinite language because I've cut myself off from it, from being told, brainwashed to speak English, brainwashed not to use telepathy, dulled down, controlled, shut off from my third eye, shut off from the mind. And what I feel that is the infinite language, God's language, is a language where you can look at something, call it anything, and another being will understand what you said. Complete connectivity. Like if I was to say that is a door, and then for somebody else I'd say that is a wobbly git or something random, a word like that, but they would still understand that because that would be like it would be like telepathy or something, and you would know the feeling, you know the meaning, the feeling behind what you just called that thing. But what has happened in this dualistic, individualized reality is we created an individual language where we cut ourselves from all, like people that speak English pretty much cut themselves off from the other languages, or the infinite language, and we created an individualized language. But I think the point that this happened is the Tower of Babel. We were all interconnected, interwoven, consciously interwoven into one another, all connected, and we could speak any language we wanted to, anything we wanted to speak, and people would know what we meant. But then we lost the infinite language, and we started speaking these individualized languages, and then that's where war and people didn't understand one another. And then subgroups would create this thing, and usually the people that spoke the same language would go up against other people that spoke different languages, and there would be so much misunderstanding, and people would end up killing one another, and war and famine and all this suffering and negativity. Even the language we speak is a materialized language. It's been limited to a specific sound wave, sound bandwidth, and we have lost this infinite language that we once had. Reconnection is what we need to understand this infinite language. Become more empathic, become more connected to one another. The more we individualize ourselves, the more disconnection we create. And the world is in a continuous state of creating different dualities, individualities, and it's just pulling away further and further and further away from the infinite consciousness. You give up your infinite consciousness to become individualized consciousness, causing dissent, causing people to know more than other people. But if we all know the same amount as one another, we can all help one another. And the more and more we individualize things, materialize things, create more things, the less we become infinite. Because in the infinite consciousness, all exists, and you can be whatever you want, speak whatever you want to speak. But in the individualized consciousness, this reality we live in, people don't accept, if you want to speak some other random language, it might be the infinite language, but people won't accept that. They cut each other off from it. And they won't accept that you're different. Where the infinite is infinite differences, but it's all interwoven and all connected. And further down the dark little hole we go, creating more individuality, separating the infinite parts of the infinite into their own individual parts, and causing dualistic realities, individualized realities, and individualized consciousness and individualized dualities. And then that builds onto the material. You create individual material things that can only be that door handle, when it could be anything that you wanted it to be in the infinite consciousness. If you weren't comfortable with that door handle being there, you would just go, oh, okay, we don't need to have that door handle being there. Let's turn it into a cat. That would be nice. A little cat running around instead of a door handle sitting there. The door handle is quite boring. I'll turn that door handle into its own little life form. But disconnection, individualization, is the dissonance. And we give it these things specific vibrations, these words that have a specific vibration that cannot be anything else, because that word is creating that vibration. But if everyone believed that anything could be anything, then you would be unlimited and free from materialization, individualization. We could be anything we wanted to be, unlimited. So that's my epiphany. Anyway, thanks for listening.